Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thanks for checking it out if you're new. Today we're back to cover the closing chapter of HBO's The Last of Us, episodes 8 and 9. Did they stick the landing? Did they crash and burn like Game of Thrones? Is the ending even the same as the game? Let's find out as we explore whether HBO's The Last of Us really is how you make an adaptation. Episode 8 opens on a small group of survivors living in a ski lodge, taking prayer from their leader David. We will find out later in the episode that this is actually the group that attacked Ellie and Joel in episode 6. They've come on hard times and have resorted to cannibalism, though only a select few know this. This is a continuation of the show's efforts to flesh out the villains in this game. Meanwhile, Ellie and Joel find themselves in a similar situation with little to no food. With Joel near death, Ellie goes out hunting to find them a meal. While the rabbit from the game gets away, Ellie finds a bigger prize than a deer. She manages to get a kill shot off on it, but runs into David and James when retrieving it. In the game, this whole encounter involves Ellie and David facing off against a horde of infected, but for some reason we can't do that here. My biggest complaint with this show is the lack of infected compared to the game. I know the game needs action sequences and things for you to do, but this is a zombie show. Where are the zombies? Here, Ellie trades the deer for medicine, during which David reveals his men were the ones that attacked him back at the college. Back at the ski lodge, David's people prepare dinner, claiming the meat to be venison. Only problem? The venison hasn't arrived yet. Yeah, they're eating that guy Joel killed in episode 6. This cult is the perfect example of the abusive relationships people can have with religion and faith. The brainwashing David has over these people because all they have left is their faith is insane. You can see that David is selfish, keeping the largest portions of the meal for himself, and abusive, and yet his followers have no one else to turn to and believe everything he preaches. Following Ellie back to the neighborhood where she has Joel stashed, David and his men capture her. David volunteers to take Ellie back with him, creepy, while the others search for Joel. Unlucky for them, the magic of penicillin kicks in and Joel starts taking guys out. He manages to capture 2 of them and in a moment straight out of the game interrogates and tortures them until they tell Joel where they took Ellie. If you've been questioning Joel's morals before this point, I think this is all the evidence you need to show he isn't the best man. Meanwhile, Ellie wakes up in a cage at the resort. It doesn't take long for her to notice the group are cannibals, as evidenced by the human body parts left laying about. David claims to feel bad about it, but I don't really think he is. He's just another evil, unredeemable villain for this series. We also get a very uncomfortable scene where the show makes a change that confirms something only hinted at in the game.
Imagine the life we could build.
David's nasty. Bella Ramsey is also acting her ass off here as she plays this angry and violent version of Ellie. She escapes using her wits and bite marks into the dining area seen earlier. Here, Ellie hides from David as the building burns down. In the game, this is a stealth segment where the player must attack David from behind while he antagonizes Ellie with the usual villain banter. Here, he doubles down on the pedophilia and haunts both Ellie and the audience. This change does make him a more hateable villain and absolutely deserving of Ellie's rage when she gets her hands on him. In the game, Joel comes in and stops her, but here Ellie gets to let it all out. I really like this change as it allows Ellie to prove she can handle herself and solves the problem. Stepping outside the diner, Joel and Ellie are reunited. They lean on one another as they walk off into the distance, showing how they need each other. I think this episode was good. It probably sticks the most to the game than any of the other episodes in the show. That being said, the changes they made to David to make him a more despicable villain are great. They make the viewer so uncomfy, just as he should. Bella Ramsey continues to prove to everyone that she is perfect for Ellie. And then this episode also is perfect because Joel is finally up on his feet and reunited with Ellie for their final journey in episode 9. It opens with the fully original scene of Ellie's mother, played by Ellie's original game actress, Ashley Johnson, giving birth to her. There's something poetic about the actress who helped shape this character, giving birth to the television version. Unfortunately, Anna is bitten before she gives birth. This is a really interesting idea because it gives some kind of potential reason for Ellie's immunity, something that isn't explained in the game. Well, I know some people like the ambiguity and mystery, where did it all start? Nobody knows. I'm the kind of person that likes an explanation for things like this in a zombie story, so it's a welcome addition to the lore. Before she can turn, Anna is found by her good friend Marlene, who has to put her down and promises to take care of the girl. This scene obviously puts Marlene and Ellie's relationship at the start and end of the season in a different light. Jumping back to present day, Ellie and Joel find themselves in Salt Lake City, where they believe the Fireflies are stationed. Ellie is very quiet, broken from the events of the last episode. Joel attempts multiple times to cheer her up with her favorite food, a game, a guitar, and even deals with her book of horrible puns. It's really sad to see this character, who has been the show's one shining light, so broken and defeated. However, a visit from a herd of giraffes does cheer Ellie up and bring a smile to her face. However, Joel's smile quickly fades when he realizes how close they are to their destination. This little girl he used to call Cargo is so much more to him now. He even offers Ellie the opportunity to leave, head back to Jackson with him to live with Tommy. However, Ellie can't do that, pointing out that everything they've gone through can't have been for nothing. She's got a pretty good point there. I don't know how you could just give up after all the loss and trauma, losing people like Tess, Sam, and Henry along the way. Ellie also feels a responsibility to save the world, being the only known cure at the moment. If all the loss she has faced can be worth it to save the world, then she has to try. Joel also takes this moment to share that his scar is left over from a suicide attempt after losing Sarah. This is not in the game, however it's been a fan theory for years, so it's neat to hear it confirmed here. It also makes Joel and Ellie's relationship all the more special, seeing as she is his new purpose to go on. The two are interrupted by fireflies who stun them with a grenade. In the game, this is an encounter with the infected and Ellie almost drowning since she can't swim. While I appreciate the quick and to the point impact the grenade has, I feel the show could do with a few more infected. I almost feel like you can count the number of encounters with the undead on one hand. Joel is greeted by Marlene when he wakes up, who lets him know Ellie is being prepared for surgery. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if telling the man who just woke up that you're gonna start slicing up his daughter is the best idea. However, the show does have Marlene explain the possibility of a cure better than the game, using her knowledge of Ellie's birth to help the surgeon come to a conclusion. Marlene is willing to break her promise to her best friend in order to potentially save the world. It's a good mirror to Joel's sacrifice, or well, what he should be willing to sacrifice, but he can't. Straight out of the game, Joel goes on a rampage, killing everyone who gets between him and Ellie. This scene is so much more impactful in the show, if you ask me, due to the use of the medium. While in the game, you're forced to play this, and it's you or them, you're playing as Joel, and you want to survive, you want to win. Here it's unnerving to sit there and watch Joel and the things that he does to these soldiers, including those who surrender. Joel isn't in control of himself at this moment, overcome with the dark side of his love for Ellie. A good use of the medium here is the fact that the audio is suppressed during this sequence. It really shows that Joel is just in his own head, nothing matters, he has to get this girl back. And Joel's acting pretty selfishly here, with no regard for what Ellie would want. He storms the operating room, kills the surgeon when he refuses to hand over Ellie, and leaves for the parking garage. I'm sure there will be no negative consequences to these actions he's taken today. In the parking garage, Joel is confronted by Marlene, who points out that Ellie wouldn't want this, but Joel doesn't care and leaves no loose ends as he kills her after she surrenders. When Ellie wakes up, Joel knows what he did was wrong, and you can see it on his face. Rather than damage the relationship he has with Ellie, he instead tells her everything else she doesn't want to hear. He lies to her, telling her she's not special and there is no hope for a cure. This choice is arguably worse, as the viewer can see how much this devastates Ellie. Everything she just went through was for nothing in her eyes. That being said, I'm not sure she 100% believes Joel, as evidenced during their hike back to Jackson. Joel is feeling better than ever, having saved his daughter like he couldn't 20 years ago. He opens up to Ellie, telling her about Sarah, something he hasn't talked about the whole season. Ellie can sense something is wrong, something is different, and tells Joel about Riley, the first person she ever killed. She has been waiting for a purpose since then, and Joel may have just robbed her of that. The season concludes the same way as the game, with Ellie asking Joel if he's telling the truth, to which he continues to lie. Ellie, probably not wanting to grapple with the reality of what Joel's done, accepts his lie. I think this finale is a good conclusion to this version of the show. While it's stuck to the same story for 90% of the episode, the additions of Ellie's mother and a better explanation of the cure help to flesh out how important Ellie is. It also gives a more realistic grasp of those ideas, rather than she's just this miracle baby who can't die from the infection. On top of that, this episode's a good example of how this show can use the medium of television creatively where the game couldn't, with the editing on Joel's rampage. Overall, it was a fitting conclusion to a pretty great season of television. So that, my friends, was HBO's The Last of Us Season 1. It truly is one of the best adaptations I've ever seen. While the start of the season was stronger, willing to make more changes, I think they nailed it. Cast all embody these characters so well, and the changes made this season were great. I only wish we could have gotten more of the infected this season and a bit more changes towards the later half. Changes like Bill and Frank at the start of the show really stuck with me, and I wish we could have had more of that in the later episodes. I'm really curious about the changes that they will make in Season 2. That being said, this season of the show took many opportunities to change and improve, which is why HBO's The Last of Us is how you make an adaptation. Thank you so much for watching this exploration into Season 1 of HBO's The Last of Us with me. Let me know what you think of the show in the comments down below. If you liked what you saw here and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.